Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 121 of the Xbox All Gamers podcast. This week, I'm joined by Char.
Hi.
And Keo.
Welcome, everyone.
This week, we got a bit of news about Embrace the Group. No more layoffs at this point, but they've definitely got some changes going on over there. There's a new ID at Xbox event happening coming up, and we've been playing a couple of video games. But I guess we should probably get into our question that we got from our good friend and semi-permanent guest host. I don't know. It's from Alex. It's from Professor Pluto. As always, we do the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. So if you want to come say hi, hang out in the chat. We've got Legacy here at the moment. We love all the fan interaction, and we'll endeavor to answer your questions as you ask them. But this first question that we got here is from Alex, who says, what's the best use of licensed music in video games? Mad World and Gears of War 3 for me, he says. Now, Alex obviously is a big fan of Gears of War, at least the early ones. I tend to agree. I think it's kind of funny because, well, it's kind of sad. The dreams of which I'm... And no,
No, stop.
I'm gonna get copyright struck if I do that.
I'll mute you.
Yeah, thank you. So it's a big part. There's a part of Gears of War 3 where they bring in the sad version of Mad World because it's a sad scene. But that game got the original game got associated with Mad World so much because of the original ad campaign that they did for it. And then the game tonally was completely different. Like it was a much more rock and roll kind of fuck things up and cut things in half with a chainsaw instead of like the more melancholy kind of. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's weird, but it is funny that they've kind of brought it back and made it part of the game itself as opposed to just their marketing campaign. I don't know. Does anything spring to mind for you guys in terms of like licensed music in games?
There's one that everyone should name. Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think across the board,
Like-
that whole soundtrack was amazing.
They just do it
it's
so
fun.
well.
Yeah, they're really, really good. It's funny actually. I was on Spotify, and Spotify has a GTA playlist that Spotify made, and I was like, oh, cool. I loved like GTA music, and I went. It's like 100 songs, and I had 98 of them already in my playlist, and I was like, oh, this is where my music taste came from. Okay, and it suddenly all makes sense. Is that I played these games way too young, and listened to all these fucking radio songs.
Like Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, you also have stuff like that too, where you have like your sports and kind of those kinds of games. Like EA was always good for that.
Yeah. See, I grew up
and-
on SingStar, so like,
Sure. Yeah.
yeah, it's a different story though.
Guitar Hero is kind of the same thing, right? Like the games
Yeah.
that like where music is the thing.
Like that's their whole game is around the music.
But the Burnout series has also always been very good with its music. Like Burnout 3 and
Oh, yeah.
and Paradise. Like when we were playing through Paradise and back in February, the soundtrack is fantastic. My only problem with it is that it just weren't enough songs. You just kind of hear too many repeats. But that's kind of, you're playing a game for 60 to 100 hours. That's one of the downsides. But it's what you can just put Spotify on the Xbox now at least, which is nice. But
Yeah, I do like the subtle remixing of the theme for Burnout that appeared in that game. It was really, really good.
yeah,
I did
they spent a lot of money to get Paradise City for the intro
they
for that
did.
game.
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
just find an article that has the article says is the top 5 games with licensed music, which is interesting. So we could go through that and just see what we think.
Sure, what do we got?
So in there, number 5 is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, totally agree.
Okay.
Actually,
Yep.
both the latest one they did and also even the Telltale version had some great songs in it. I've had Shambhala stuck in my head for ages when I played that and played Three Dog Night.
My question about that is, did they do like what the songs from the movies, or did they pick new songs for the games?
They picked basically new songs. Like there's actually a if you go on Spotify, there is a Guardians of the Galaxy like playlist. But you've got things like Everybody Wants to Rule the World. You got Tainted Love. You've got Love It Loud by Kiss. You've got Take on Me. Like a lot of that. You've got Relax by Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Like there's like all sort of classics. I mean, they even have Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley in there as one of the first ones.
Amazing.
yeah, it's all very much like hair metal kind of like that 80s vibe, which I fucking love.
Yeah.
70s and 80s.
Yeah, I think I found that the original Gran Turismo 2, I discovered
Mm.
Oh
Kasabian
yes.
that way.
Oh
That
yeah.
was I really like Kasabian after
Yeah.
that. It was
Because
really
Avian's
good.
amazing.
Racing games are real smart with that because like
Yes.
they realize you're gonna like I'm sorry, Cameron, but racing games are boring as fuck. You drive around a lot of the same tracks over and over again doing the
Mm,
same thing.
mhm.
So they got to keep it interesting by
And
like
they do
having
that
first of
one
all
with
having
the
cool cars,
music.
having cool sound
Yep.
effects, and then
Yep.
some sweet fucking music.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back in the day, I downloaded the entire series of Need for Speed soundtracks and put them in my car,
Hell
and
yeah.
it was just 9-inch nails tacked onto the end because I had room on the disc because it
Sure.
was an MP3 car player.
Yeah.
And then the Need for Speed Underground 2 soundtrack and all the others. So it was really great.
Yeah, Underground 2 and the original Most Wanted had just fucking great soundtracks back in those days, yeah. And especially
Yes.
because they were playing on a PS2, so they had like real fucking that sound chip was cool for the time.
The next game on the list, number 4 is Grand Theft Auto Vice City, which we've already mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I will just say, like, has maybe one of the best musical intros in the game. Basically, of you watch the intro cutscene, you get in the car, and the very first thing that starts playing is I believe
Billie
it's Billie
Jean.
Jean, Billie
Yep.
Jean by Michael Jackson. And it's not in the remaster because they couldn't afford to license it again, but it's so perfect.
They make note of the fact that when you're driving around in the middle of the rainstorm, it's Africa by Toto
Yeah,
playing.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's some
Yeah.
great stuff.
Yeah. I definitely love playing Vice City. I should play that again. Third place, they have Indigo Prophecy.
Ah,
Ah,
I
yeah.
complete.
yeah.
Yeah.
Indigo Prophecy is Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is the
Fahrenheit
other
is
name
the
for
other
it,
name
so-
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of North America.
Good old David Cage's weird, fucking, super interesting idea, but terrible execution game. That was the one that made him really famous.
And then second place, Matt should be able to pick this one.
Is it Saints Row?
No, it's not, surprisingly. Although that's a good
Oh.
shout. It's Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne.
Yes, I mean Max Payne has always had really, really good music in all of them. 3 has got
I
some
never
great
played-
tracks in it too.
I never played 2, actually.
I'm really looking forward to the well, listen, I don't know if they said remasters, remakes is kind of somewhere in between. They're spending a lot of time making them, so I'm curious what comes out. But yeah, those will be. Yeah, I'm hoping that they still have some great fucking music in them.
Yeah. And then number 1 is Red Dead Redemption.
Okay, yeah. I'm not the
Yeah.
biggest fan of Red Dead, but
Mm.
the song, like that song when you're going when you're going across into Mexico is top tier.
Yeah.
It is top tier. I have a look in the chat. I think
What did they say in our Discord?
yeah, I don't want to miss. Cameron says I don't want to miss a thing in Saints Row 4.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saints Row 3 and 4 had some really, really good ones.
Mm.
Because I think 4 had like some Bonnie Tyler in there, and man, there was a whole, well, because the first thing, yeah, don't want to miss a thing is like right at the beginning of 4. And then I think halfway through they had, oh, and then of course they had Opposites Attract because they do the sing along for it.
Oh yeah, they
Yes,
do in
they
the
do,
game.
They do.
Yes.
Yeah. Because they've got the different soundtracks as well. So there's the Gen X one, which has things like Howl, Beware of the Darkness, Papa Roach Still Swinging, the Datsun System Overload, that kind of thing. And then they had the Mad Decent, which was DJ Riff Raff. And that had like Diplo songs, Booty Bounce
it's
by
really funny.
GTA. Like,
It's really funny how they do kind of like they want to do like the GTA radio stuff, but also
Yeah.
had a slightly different take on
I
it.
just play around with it. And then they had the classics one, which had like Carmen Suite Number 1, La Donna
Yep.
El Mobile from Rigoletto. And then you've also got 420, which had things like Pressure Drop, History of Jamaica, Milk and Honey. You never get away.
Like it's
There's
really
so
smart.
much.
Like like I said with driving games, like the open world GTA kind of genre is perfect for that, right? Because it makes perfect sense. You have a radio in your car,
Yeah,
and so they just basically were like, yeah, we'll do funny ads, and then we'll do great fucking music, and you'll just hear it a lot.
yeah. It's so good, especially
Um,
when you can like use your own, like use the radio and stuff like that, and choose what you want, and then to have
yeah,
like songs that you know, and be like, I'm actually gonna like the amount of times I sang along with songs while playing Saints Row 4. Yeah,
yeah.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
Well,
Yeah. I did boosting even with Todd doing the co-op. Well, I did the
oh yeah,
co-op with Todd,
yeah.
and he just couldn't shut up with the music in Saints Row 2 even. And I'm like,
yeah,
this
Amazing.
music is trash, but it
yeah.
still like
But it's so
fits the mood.
good
It's
though.
great. It's so
There's an
It
good.
fits
achievement. There's an
it.
achievement for
It
your character singing
yeah
in Saints Row 2 as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah
I think it's like
yeah
cool.
soprano or whatever, and it's for
yeah
I
yeah
think it's if you play Take on Me, I think, or
Dang.
something, and it just
yeah 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 yeah. The the Tomb Raider Underworld soundtrack
oh
was
yeah.
so good.
Oh, I
I had
haven't
to
looked
look it
that in a
up,
while.
and
Yeah.
there's actually like a web page for it. It was Mozart's Lacrimosa, just like a
Hmm.
classical piece. It was just like the ruins of the of her mansion,
Mm.
basically in like a flyover cutscene with ashes and stuff like that. So that was the feels I think with that trailer. So
Hmm.
I also joked that "Party Up" by DMX in Pimp My Ride.
Am I right?
The
Amazing.
Oh
Ghost Ride the Whip.
man. Yep.
So
Yeah, I
yeah, that
Yeah.
forgot.
was
I
so good.
forgot about that fucking mini game. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. Licensed music is kind of an interesting one in video games because you don't hear it a huge amount, but it's always very noticeable when you do because a lot of like, especially when it's like not in a contemporary setting and they kind of like, I mean, like Saints Row is a good
Or
example, right? Where it's like you're on
remixes.
a you're on a rocket and like trying to climb on it. Well, it's going to destroy the Earth or whatever, and fucking I don't want to miss the thing starts playing in the background and
Yep.
ah man. I'm suddenly what is it? Was it Total Eclipse of the Heart in Battlefield 3? I think it was like during the chase scene, and again this was like the long time ago. Battlefield 3 basically there was a part right at the beginning when you're in the car and you're driving trying to get away from the whoever's attacking you. I don't even know at this point. And you crash the car and they like it flips over, falls into the water and starts sinking. And then just on the radio you just hear Bonnie Tyler just blaring. They're like, I'm gonna die to the song. I'm gonna die listening to Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I'm very curious to see kind of, like actually Saints Row 6, sorry, GTA 6 and the new Saints Row. I don't know what the music's going to be in those. And I haven't played the latest Saints Row, so or yeah, Neon and chat's like yeah, exactly. When you're doing like grinding or kick flipping in Tony Hawk, yeah, like the
Yeah.
skateboarding games also like
Yeah.
great soundtracks.
Yeah.
I remember playing like was the original like um
It's a very 90s
was
thing, right? Licensed
oh
music
hell
in
yeah.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost
Stuff
like
like
there was
Ace
just
of
a
Spades and
Well,
phase
you
of
also
it.
get like stuff like System of a Down and things like that, which was really cool. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, actually talking of who is it? Back on the PS1 they released Duke Nukem Land of the Babes.
yep.
And the intro to that had like a heavy artist that I um got into after that. Was it actually? No, wasn't System of a Down. It was. Don't even know. I have to look it up. Land of the Babes soundtrack, I guess.
I,
Let's
I,
see.
I remember playing
What is that song?
there was a game which was just called Skateboarding on the PS1. It was like it was just called Skate, which is so
Oh
weird to
yeah,
think about. And like I just remember like it had Sugar by System of a Down in there,
Yeah.
Mm,
and it had OPM's Heaven is a Half Pipe, which is just such
Yeah.
a early 2000s
yeah.
classic. Brutal Legend. Yeah, Brutal Legend
Yep.
is.
Mm,
I should have thought of Brutal Legend.
Like
It's like
one
that
of my
game.
favorites. When I first played Brutal Legend, it was when I was using one of my ex's PlayStations because we had a PlayStation 3 that we kind of shared.
mm,
But I like made him buy this game just because I had to play it because one, Jack Black is amazing.
Yeah.
And 2, it was like, this is amazing. I need this like rock game just so I can run
Yeah,
around with this amazing music going on. Like,
it's fucking it. Like I hate to be a fucking
Ah,
zoomer, but like the
mm,
like understanding the assignment in terms of games of like, yeah, we're gonna make a metal game
yeah,
that has like fucking
mm,
demons and shit in it. They were
yeah,
like, Jack Black
yeah.
and Tim Schafer were like, nailed it. Like
yeah.
this is it.
It was Push It by Static X. I got super into
Oh
Static X after
hell
Amazing.
that. It was
yes.
so good. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh yeah, Crazy Taxi also had a really good soundtrack. Uh,
Yeah, I don't think there's many in-game situations where the soundtracks actually really fire off,
mm,
unless it really fits the theme. But yeah, I do find that a lot of the trailers and the like the
The trailers where they hook
FMV
you
videos and
usually, right?
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Probably be remiss if we didn't mention Borderlands as well. Obviously, they're like their intro hooks
Oh
with the
yeah,
music
yeah,
stuff.
totally.
I mean,
Yeah.
like it got me listening to the heavy after all. So
Sure. Yeah.
Mm.
um, oh man, yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
Tales of the Borderlands also had like one great like they do like an intro outro great song, and fuck, I still have Busy Earning on my playlist. It's so good. Um, and Cameron also says Sanctuary from
Ah,
Kingdom Hearts 2.
yeah.
And I suppose
Mm.
Simple and Clean for Kingdom Hearts 1. And then I can't remember what they did for Kingdom Hearts 3. Was that the one they did with she did with Skrillex? Or
That
I
yeah, they yes. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3 yet, so but yeah, you're right. I'm
it
pretty
was that
sure.
was an interesting one.
Yeah.
I was fine. Like it's been long enough that I was like, yeah, it's fine. But
Yeah, yeah. I love Cage, the
Cage
Ain't
the
No
Elephant,
Rest for the Weekend.
yeah,
Yeah, the Cage of the Elephant one.
Mm.
Cage the
yeah,
Elephant.
it's a great song.
Yeah, it's so good.
All right. Well, thank you for the question, Alex. Got us
Memories.
reminiscing about. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start putting some playlists together and
Mm.
reliving it when I was young and hopeful. Uh, but let's get into the news. Kia, what have you found for us this week?
Yeah, so found I've gone through and found a whole bunch of stuff this week. Some of it Xbox is doing a new ID at Xbox through the IGN well basically IGN are doing a new consumer show that kind of replaces the weekend of E3.
Mm.
Essentially, it runs from like the 7th to the 9th of June.
Oh,
And
right.
um like
They didn't want to let have Keeley have all the
oh wait,
airspace.
is it June or April? April, June. Well, am I even getting that right?
Well, no, because I know that like
They
Keeley's going to do Summer Games Fest, but I
mm,
know that IGN I think are doing
yeah.
some sort of event at the end of the month.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, I for whatever reason in the notes I put June, but I'm pretty sure it's just yeah,
Y-
they're doing partnerships basically with IGN to do the showcases at least for this next one that's on April 29th. So I put down the wrong month. So basically it's looking at epic trailers, fresh gameplay, new reveals, top details for like Dungeons of Hinterberg, 33 Immortals, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, new Power World Vampire Survivors updates. But then they're also looking at some stuff like Sea of Stars and Texas Chainsaw Massacre as
Yeah, well, they like those were
that's the
kind of
stuff that
some
they did
they
last.
did
That's the
last
kind
year,
of
which
stuff
was
they
kind of
did
the big
last year.
surprises, like Sea of Stars
So
especially. So
yeah,
hopefully we see some really good
yeah.
stuff.
So along those lines, people are hoping once again, like always, Hollow Knight Silksong, maybe.
That's the yeah. It's
So
I'm telling you right now, it's not happening. There's no way
yeah,
you show off Silk
mhm,
Song before June or what the June summer showcase or whatever. Like,
yeah, 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 yeah,
I am curious to see a bit more of 33 Immortals though. That'll be a great community game.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Um,
there's going to be a few more things with IGN, I think, coming up now. That's for most of the platforms, like Ubisoft is doing a thing and all that kind of stuff. Related to
well,
all of that as
we're
well.
going
So
into a relatively quiet May. It kind of looks like in terms of
mm.
releases. Like, there's not a huge amount on the horizon that I'm like, oh, goal, yeah, that's a big one. Outside of Hellblade, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But that's kind of it, I think.
yeah. It's quiet on all fronts. Like there's a lot of stuff releasing, but it's kind of like there's not a lot of buzz at the moment. The stuff
Mm.
that is releasing. Um, Moving on to Embracer, they are splitting into three publicly listed companies. The choices of names are interesting. So you have Asmodee Group. They'll split up in the next 12 months and deal with the trading card and tabletop games.
Hmm.
They own stuff like Ticket to Ride and things like that. Coffee Stain and Friends. So they'll split up in 2025 and deal with the Indian AA side of stuff, which will be free to play for PC and paid AAA, AA games for PC, console, and mobile. Then there's also Middle Earth Enterprises and Friends. So they're leaving this one kind of as it is. It's going to be listed without change, but they're doing the AAA stuff, including Lord of the Rings and Tomb Raider.
Cool.
So, which will also house stuff like THQ and stuff like that if they can push the THQ stuff into
Yeah, I'm really
AAA
curious.
after Saints Row, right? So
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, yeah. Well, Volition's gone, right? Like, I wonder how many of these they kind of say what studios are going where, right? So, like, the Middle Earth one is getting like Tripwire and Vertigo and Warhorse and 4A, so the guys who do Metro and that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering, like, how many of those are still around? Like, how many of those really,
True.
as this kind of goes forward, it just means they're going to be cutting from three different places as opposed to one, I guess. But I guess if you're looking for outside investment, having three different companies where they can say, well, hey, they want to invest in one and not the others. The Coffee Stain one is probably the most interesting because it probably has the most IP and
yeah. There's over 900 IP across the whole Embracer group.
That's crazy.
And that's card games, AA, AAA, indie, like all of those things. So it's I guess you've got three companies, you've got three ways to liquidize your assets down the line.
Yeah, if you have someone who says, actually, I'm most
As things
interested
fall
in,
off.
I'm interested in the card and board side of things because it's kind of low cost. 300, Ticket to Ride, Catan,
Yes, yeah.
Exploding
Pretty
Kittens.
popular.
Yeah, okay, it's interesting.
They do all, yeah.
I'm very curious, like on the financial side, what that's going to do to their debt in terms of like splitting out and who's going to owe what and what they're going to be trying to pay back and scrounge, and where the money is going to be made, because like that Coffee Stain studio has like some like relatively big games in it, but I don't know if they're like huge enough money. Again, I don't know, like we don't know the insides and outs of their financials, but it's very curious to see what they're going to do there.
Yeah, well, they've got Kingdom Come Deliverance coming up for the AAA side of things.
True.
So, I mean, was the first game that wasn't considered AAA? Yeah.
It was. Yeah, I wouldn't say AAA, right? I think it's kind of right on the line.
So, in terms of like what it brings to the table, it can definitely be a AAA if they really polish it out.
So, people are very excited. They just showed the trailer for the second game, and people are very, very excited for it.
Yeah.
The first game was the kind of game that you play for being like, this is fucking cool. I'm never going to have the time to really invest into this because that game, you want to talk about like Dark Souls being punishing. Kingdom Come Deliverance is, it's rough. Well, it can be rough depending on, like, it's very much like, hey, you start this game as like a dude who doesn't know how to swing a sword. So you better fucking learn how to do that if you want to survive.
Does it make you happy that Neverwinter will continue though?
No, and I actually just saw an update on TA that they just released their latest patch.
I saw that. 2 achievements or something.
Yeah, one for finishing the dungeon, one for finishing the campaign. I am so behind on that game.
Yeah, but you're at the point where, like, are you actually going to be able to catch up, though?
I'd really have to dedicate a lot of time and to catch up on it, and I just do not want to be honest.
I think it's one of those situations where it's kind of like you're at the point where you should probably just cut your losses.
I think I'm just going to
I think it's been enough time now.
Well, my VIP is nearly over, so I don't think I'm going to renew it.
Yeah, it's a Gems of War situation there, so...
Yeah, at what point do you call a game and say, no, this is it?
When they say that they're going under and that they have to shut it down is usually the point. Thanks, Kitty. Greatly appreciate you getting me into that fucking trash fire. Anyway, not bitter or anything.
No one's bitter. Who's bitter here?
What else we got, Kia?
All right. So, the MetaQuest VR headset. There's
Mm.
an Meta opened up their Horizon operating system to third-party companies recently, and it's enabled Microsoft to develop like an Xbox cloud gaming experience for the system.
It's fucking smart.
So, yeah, totally. Along with
Yup.
this, Microsoft have partnered with Meta to create an Xbox Inside MetaQuest headset. The headset will take on a green and black color scheme and be sold alongside an Xbox controller. What do you have in for thoughts on this one?
Will my computer be able to run? Well, actually, MetaQuests are self.
It,
You don't need
it's
a
all
computer for it, right? It's all
contained completely separately. Like it's a basically you can just roll around with the headset and
got you. The
use it.
Quests are the one that allow you to. Yeah, right. Okay, it's Oculus
Yeah,
that I think you need to have
yeah,
plugged in.
yeah.
Mm.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
the current one is the MetaQuest 3.
Hmm.
I know the MetaQuest 2 is while a lot more popular because of accessibility and the cost price would have went down a lot since
Yeah.
the assuming just people offloading their headsets for the third one. Not that
Mm.
I've looked into that because I'm not really a Meta or a you know not geared towards that branding, but it'd be very interesting to see what they can do with cloud with that one.
It's probably a pretty smart play, right? Like we've
Mm,
talked about how
Mm-hmm.
Xbox definitely are trying to not necessarily do their own thing all the time, but partner with others to kind of work on a lot of the stuff. Because there's also a bunch of other headsets that have been announced. I think Lenovo is doing
mm,
one,
mhm.
and I think Asus as well.
It's really
So
good. That technology being opened up is just going to hopefully blow open, you know, that VR subset.
Mm.
yeah,
So yeah, it's like it's not going to be playing in VR so much as you can use it as a screen, as
yeah,
far as I'm aware, but we don't really have any details for it. And I've used like the PSVR headset, right? And there's three screen size modes in that. There's like small and it's at a distance, and you've got like the black around you. You've got the medium, which is kind of like the nice ground. That's for like movies and stuff, right? So
Okay.
anything that exists on the 2D plane. And then
hmm
you've got uh the huge one, which is a lot bigger, and you have to look left and right to even do anything with it. And it
Cool.
is not sustainable to kind of like
right.
exist in that
Yeah.
zone. So yeah, so you always just kind of stick with the medium one. Um, so I am assuming it will just be you can choose your size of screen, and you can play Game Pass kind of as it is.
Yeah.
So mm,
Yeah, because it does sound like that Xbox doesn't really have any interest in the VR space, quote unquote, in terms of
Mm.
like making those games or funding them. I mean, Sony's kind of already been down that track and then kind of abandoned it twice now. So
yeah, yeah, and it's good that they can kind of get like a meta one going because when
yeah,
Lenovo and that start bringing out their versions, it's going to be easier to onboard that stuff onto the cheaper headsets as well, I think. So,
mm.
because they'll be a lot more consumer priced, I think.
I mean, like if it's a decent price, maybe I'll pick one up
Mm.
just for the novelty of it. I know that
Yeah.
they what were the Meta Quests going for at the moment? They were actually somewhat affordable as opposed to um your standard VR like HTC Vive and all that kind
Yeah,
of
I don't know.
stuff.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't
Might
actually
just look it
know
up.
MetaQuest pricing.
Yeah, Medicus 3 is about $900, yeah, which is probably about right for
That's okay.
128
I
gig.
mean,
For
uh, hmm. If you
that's
were buying, sorry,
mm,
I guess I'll just finish my thought. If you were buying if you had the option between a MetaQuest and the PSVR 2,
mm,
you'd 100% go for the MetaQuest
yeah.
over something that's not even properly being supported for the same price.
Yeah, although
So,
apparently they're looking at bringing the PSVR 2 to
mm,
be PC compatible as well.
yeah.
There's some talk around that, which I think makes sense because I think the VR market on the PlayStation is quite limited.
Mm, mm. Do either of you guys have a um like experience with the VR stuff?
Not particularly. I mean, I did just build my PC, but even then, I don't think it would be super great to run VR stuff. Like, it might do okay, but I don't know. Like the cost and barrier to entry has just been so high for so long, and even with the like improvements and the changes that they've made with like Oculus and HTC Vive and all that kind of stuff, there's also just not enough software to justify spending that kind of money.
Mm. Nothing at all, Char. Yeah.
I have tested out someone else's. My
That's enough.
Yeah, so my flatmate borrowed it temporarily, and we all like
Yeah.
just played around with it for a second, and so we like there was like a demo installed on it for like Jurassic Park, and you got to like basically have like 10 minutes of this video kind of playing, and it's all around, and you just look at this dinosaur, and like it has like a nest and
Nice.
stuff,
Yeah.
and then like it does the tail swing, and it like turns around and like gets its head right in your eyes, and you're just like, okay, this is pretty cool. And
Yep.
then like because I knew about my space, I was very conscious about like personal space around me. But when when my other flatmate Tori put it on and was doing the exact same video as the rest of us, there was a moment where Tori almost fell over backwards because of the way that she was bending backwards to look at this dinosaur.
That's great.
And we kind of had to like try and almost catch her. But it was quite fun. Like I can see why people would enjoy it. I just don't know that I would
Yeah.
spend the money on a novelty.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it is cool. It's a novelty.
The first experience I had was at for my birthday one year. We went to one of those just little places where you can go and pay, and you spend
Yeah.
like an hour with the VR headsets. And one of the first things that I tried was, it was like an under ocean scenario where
Oh,
you're standing on like a pirate ship or something, and this huge whale kind of comes down, and then it swims down, and it's right in front of you.
Yeah.
And even for VR, like back when it was close to release, for a lot of the popular stuff, the eye on the whale just looked so real that you just it's like you were staring into its soul and it was staring back. It's a really weird experience with something like that.
Super impressive. Yeah.
But yeah, I fall in love with all of the under the ocean stuff, so I was kind of like in it anyway. So
Yeah.
so I'm like, yeah, this is cool.
I can definitely it's something I'd like to do again, but I wouldn't spend money to have it for myself at home. Like I'd go somewhere to
Yeah.
do it, not a
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be nice if there was an option for them to implement like a full VR experience for some of the shooters and stuff
Yeah.
that kind of pop up in Game Pass. Like
Yeah.
just like a toggle on or off VR.
Yeah.
So like the old what was it, the one that came with Batman Arkham Asylum? And
Oh yeah, we're doing the dancing and stuff.
And, like,
yeah.
Firehawk had the Green Lantern glasses that came with it that you
Oh
could
Yeah.
yes.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
It makes me think
See it in
of
3D.
Again, back in my PlayStation days, a Little Big Planet when they
Yeah.
Little Big Planet 3, and then they brought out like a completely whole game just on Sackboy, and it was all with the PlayStation camera and the Move controller, and that whole thing was just around like you got to control Sackboy with the Move controller and things like that, and then like they had the Harry Potter Wonder Book thing for a little while.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But again, that's before the screens. It was just with the camera and your little
It's like the AR stuff.
the
Yeah.
little wand tool thing. And I 'cause
Yeah.
I originally had the camera and the weird pet game that you could get because it came with the camera, and I could not even sell that game when I
Yeah.
didn't want it anymore.
Yeah,
Because you were
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
okay, why do I want a pet game? Like
That's
it was
so
like
funny.
a
Yeah.
Tamagotchi, but you could like
Yeah,
pet it
they
and
had
stuff.
iPet, which was just
Yeah.
the one
Yeah.
that one,
Yeah.
and then there was Invisimals, which was like a PS Vita
Yeah.
AR kind
And
of
then they
thing
did
as well.
Connectimals for the Xbox.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, there you
know.
go. Yeah, yeah.
So like, it's definitely
And then
something
Milo-
people
no.
like.
No, they didn't do. Yeah, Peter Molyneux's lies.
Imagine if Cameron was here, he'd be like, Bluey,
Uh-huh.
give me VR Bluey.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a. I'll be vague on this, but I saw a TikTok video about Bluey that someone was very excited about Bluey that I'll send to you guys. was very
Cool.
funny. All right.
Nice.
move on.
Moving
Yeah.
on.
So GameIndustry.biz got to visit the solar-powered developer offices dubbed Barn X, which is the fifth one that has been created by Microsoft for like their development studios, specifically Rare. I guess they were set up in 4 different houses kind of before. And it's all about sustainability and stuff like that. So this one has been built to house the projects that are in active development and brings all the teams together in one space to collaborate where needed on each project. It fits 85 employees, which the other barns would normally house half of that. And every staff member has a view and can gain access to the outside, which is, nice.
Cool.
Go outside for a bit.
Yeah.
Other features include the condensed water of the chillers being reused to flush toilets and spaces to accommodate neurodiversity like quiet spaces, focus areas, and the places where you can turn off sounds and noises. So,
That's very cool.
yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the sustainability efforts?
I mean, I hope they make better games because of it. I think that like it's nice when developers get treated like human beings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially because it's such a thankless fucking job and it pays like shit and they get worked crazy hours. So I'm hoping that this kind of, the fact that like, hey, you can look outside and go outside. It's like, okay, I mean, good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I love the fact that there's like sensory rooms and things like that. That's very cool because like it's an interesting one with neurodiversity because it's becoming more and more mainstream. And I think that's partially because people are finding it is easier to talk about it without the stigma at the moment. And it's like, it's the new thing, right?
Yeah.
And I find it really interesting because my sibling went through it when it was there was a lot of stigma around it and they had a really bad childhood because of being diagnosed with ADHD as a kid going through high school and things like that. So they have a different, like almost a completely different lens on it than I do because I am only like 2 years into my diagnosis and there's still not really anything at work. There's no like neurodiversity network. There's no like support systems or like we've got quiet rooms, but they're quiet meeting rooms, right? But like the fact that this is being put in place in a building for people who probably are hugely neurodivergent. Like, I mean, let's face it,
if you're
most
going to work in the games
creatives are.
industry, there's
Like, there's a chance they probably
overrepresented by far.
Yes. But like the fact that it's becoming more mainstream to be able to talk about it and be open about it is very cool. I like that. But I don't want it to then become like a thing that people just go, oh yeah, okay, and then be like, oh, well, then they can be more flexible with their hours, so they could do more this and that, and like don't then become hey, they have these rooms in this space, so they can work extra, or like
that's
Yeah, there's a line, and hopefully they kind of stick to it. But there's that crunch mentality that still sticks around in the business, and so like this is cool. But like, is that sustainable in terms of like reducing stress and reducing crunch and that kind of thing?
Yeah,
because
and so
that's
many
a huge
people.
Problem.
Yeah, so many people go by being undiagnosed, and don't even realize. And like
even
places
getting
like
the
this,
diagnosis is just the wait list at the moment, and this is just New Zealand. The wait time to get a diagnosis, even to just get the initial appointment, right, is somewhere between 6 months to a year. And that is just from like contacting one of the many psychologists around that can do it, and then they'll put you on a waiting list. And then the next thing is that it doesn't just take one appointment, it's multiple. So it can cost up to like 1,000, 1,500 just to get a diagnosis and medication. So like no wonder people aren't going through that process because they can't afford it. But like the fact that they've provided these spaces, that's actually a good step in the right direction, because even that is better than nothing, right?
Yeah. Well, next step is that they need like some of those medical professionals in their barns.
Yeah,
so
bring
that
them
they
into
can...
the barn. Just have it like a psych evaluation.
Yeah, actually, yeah,
that's a whole different story.
Do
I
you
mean, hey,
think you have
part of the
neurodivergent
part of the
qualities?
signing bonus is that
Yeah.
they'll
We'll
tell
give
you how
you your,
neurospicy you are.
Yeah.
We'll do a full
Yeah.
radar test for you.
I highly recommend going through and having a read of the article if no one's listening to it.
Yes,
Because it's a
definitely.
really interesting breakdown of kind of like
Uh-huh.
what they're doing at Rare.
Yeah.
Because
Especially
Rare have
solar
about
powered, that's very
200
cool.
people working for them, so it's like it's not a small team, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And they can't all be working on Sea of Thieves, right? They got to
Yeah.
be doing some other stuff.
Hopefully.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, they were saying stuff about locking away different sections of the old barns um to hide if they were having unreleased projects and all that kind of stuff that
Cool.
they didn't
Yeah.
want to talk about and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
makes
It
sense.
it reminds me of the with the boss faction, whatever it's called, the business in Watch Dogs 2, where they set up that whole playground
Yeah.
like building or that you had to infiltrate. And it was like a Google piss take or
Yeah,
something
like
like
there was
that.
the
Yeah.
Google campus basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
had the
Yeah.
slide and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Mm.
All right, what's next?
All right. So, a little bit of light news, just a bit of notes from Reddit essentially. I don't troll through Reddit myself, but I picked this up. On a Reddit AMA, so Ask Me Anything, Ubisoft indicated that there were no plans for Assassin's Creed Mirage DLC, but Bazim might return for another standalone adventure. They
Mm.
loved the reception of the game and loved creating creating a more close-knit experience, but it was also difficult to do more constrained gameplay but the team would love to explore new horizons and creative freedom. So
I hope that means, hey, we do another small, contained, standalone experience, and not the next Assassin's Creed will be Basim based, but also 300 hours long.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I feel like that's the wrong lesson, you know?
yeah. Did you play? You've obviously played Mirage, but did you
Yeah.
play? Is it the last main one that
But he's in
Azim was in?
Valhalla. Yeah, I have not
He's
played
in
Valhalla.
Valhalla.
He's at the
Yeah,
beginning of
so
Valhalla, yeah.
yeah. So it'd be interesting if they do more things like that with side characters, or if they can implement
Yeah, and
him a little
Basim's like a
bit
fun
more.
character, and like I
Yeah,
enjoyed Mirage for the most part. Like it had some, it was
yeah,
a bit rough around the edges, but I think the
yeah,
idea of
yeah,
going back to old Assassin's Creed is good.
yeah. Spoiler for
Mm.
what I've been playing. I started it like 2 hours ago.
Oh,
So
right.
yeah, through Ubisoft Plus. So
Yeah, I'd be
um,
curious to hear your thoughts. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, moving on to another Ubisoft game. So a recent update for Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. There's a new 40 FPS mode that just got released for Series X and PS5.
Weird. Right.
Which is another I guess developer taking advantage of what seems to be some kind of middle ground for frame rates. Another notable improvements. Fix some crashes, but also add fast travel to the research station Alpha.
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
surprising they didn't already have that. Yeah.
Yeah. Other games that include 40 FPS modes, things like Fallout 4. I don't know if that already existed or if that's in the new update.
I think they already existed because the new update is the
Yeah.
4K stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep. Liza P, Hogwarts Legacy, Plague Tale Requiem, and then a variety of PlayStation exclusives like Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, which Ratchet and Clank was the one that originally went, oh, we're putting in a 40 FPS mode, and everyone's like, why would you have a 40 FPS mode in a game and stuff like that?
It's it is a bit of a weird thing when you think about like the standard between 30 and 60.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
guess you just want to squeeze a little more out of it.
Yeah.
And I guess if people want to be able to, like, if people can't do the 60 and want a little bit more than, I don't know.
Because
Yeah.
the thing is, when you bump something up to 60, you usually have to lose fidelity to do it, so that the game doesn't look as good.
I guess.
Like I don't give a shit about it. Like I will play a game at a 60, 120, like anything to get the frame rate higher. I'll play I don't mind it being a bit muddy, but it doesn't look good in trailers, and some people really, really like the visual. I mean, like stuff like Ratchet and Clank looks really, really good, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I can kind of like there is a real emphasis on visuals and particle effects and stuff like that use up a lot of processing power.
I wonder if I've noticed
well, I
the
play on a
difference.
1440p monitor, so
Right.
There must be something there. Just taking out those 20 frames, right? So I mean, we've seen things go up to 120 and then go back to 60 and then back to 30. I mean, the 40 is almost like an excuse to not be 30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
like 60 should be the standard, but
Mm, mm.
it's like putting the price to like $50 instead of 59.99. Like,
yeah, it is kind of
Yeah,
it's a bit odd.
yeah,
But
yeah,
there may be some technical reasons for it.
yeah,
yeah,
surely. I
yeah,
like if
yeah.
it.
But yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm curious to know if I would notice the difference because I just play games. I don't think about the frame rate, so like
If you see them next to each other, it's like night and day. But I get what you mean when you're
yeah,
just kind of in it.
yeah. I just play the
Mm,
game for the
mm,
game. So if like I don't think that I would really notice unless someone actually showed
Hmm.
me the difference between 30, 40, and 60. Like I don't think that I would actually
Yeah.
notice the difference.
yeah,
But I do
yeah,
watch movies at
yeah.
a very much lower frame rate because the Plex just can't handle going to a slightly higher
Well,
frame rate.
that's like the fidelity on the yeah. Anyway, that's
Mm.
That's a whole different
Yeah.
thing. But like I play those at like what was I watching the other day? I had to drop it really really low, so it was like on 300, 320 or something.
that's awful. That's yeah, okay. All right, I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah,
Um,
fair. I
uh,
mostly had it for background
yeah.
noise, so it was fine. But
Mm.
like, I don't know that I'd want that for my games.
no.
All right. So we have Cameron's inclusion for the news this week. So he was excited about the cool X-Men 97 comic design that has popped up as a giveaway. Now
Hmm.
that Disney Plus has pushed out their continuation of the classic X-Men 97 animated TV show. It features an exclusive two-page comic of Cyclops and the X-Men fighting Sentinel and Master Mold,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know. And there's also some X-Men themed Design Lab controllers, which get kind of paired up with the consoles as a
They're
given
fucking
away,
cool. Like
essentially.
they're very,
Yeah,
very
It is
'Yes.
'90s. Like
very
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and the competition goes until 19th of May, and you just have to retweet their tweets on Twitter for that one and be eligible as part of the country and have an over 18 account and stuff like that. If you are watching the stream, I've kind of set that as my background to so you can kind of get a glimpse of the console itself. So and the controllers in the background too. So you can see maybe a couple. So
Right.
Mm-hmm.
other than that, probably the last thing is really just going on from fixing achievements from last week. Essentially, Aspire finally fixed the unobtainable in Star Wars Battlefront 2, the remaster. Marshal Commander achievement. So this is just for obtaining all the other achievements. All you have to do is update the game. Your achievement should unlock if you have everything else. But now people might be motivated a little bit to actually play the game because
I
it
was thinking
works.
about it. I was seriously
Mm.
considering it.
I thought you might. Just like Tomb Raider last week, it's all right. As soon as it's fixed
You're
and it
like,
goes on sale
ooh,
like this
yeah,
week, you're like,
exactly.
maybe I will.
Maybe now's the time. I think
So
it's only like a 20 to 25 hour completion as
That's
well.
not
Like it's
bad.
grindy, but
I
yeah,
it's
I
not
think
mean,
too
there's a
bad.
couple of grindy things.
you're getting
So
close to finishing MCC.
I do need something new to play. So maybe that's the one. We'll see.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, and that's pretty much it for the news that I picked out. So
All right. Thank you, Kia. Um, Now, as our listeners and viewers will know, we do a theme each month, a themed event where we try and get people to play games based on a sort of fun theme that we come up with. So this month's theme has been 360 games. Considering the store is shutting down and the world is ending, we've been kind of trying to push to get a few done.
yep.
We've had a few interesting completions in there. I got Diablo 3 finally done this week. And I finished up
Yes.
Worms, and I want to try and maybe get one or two more done before the end of the month. We'll see how it goes.
Mm,
But
mm.
the tricky bit is obviously that if they're not complete, they're not complete for a reason. I've been challenged to complete uh, Castlevania, Lords of Shadow, Mirror of Fate dash HD.
It's
I think it was
Perfect Dark Zero.
Uh, yeah.
whatever that. Yeah, and I'm not playing Perfect Dark Zero. Fuck that game.
Ah.
But yes, I'm gonna. Yeah, so Shane Firehawk has finished it recently. And I have been challenged to do it. I managed to beat the first boss on Boss Rush, and then I got my ass handed to me by the second one. So there's 9 bosses. Got to do them all in one go.
Yep.
So I got a lot of making up to do, and it's been a very long time since I played the game, so I'm gonna have to re-practice a lot of it. But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. I do have a couple of other ones in the backlog that I'm like, oh, I might do like Super Time Force, and I've got like Moon
Yep.
Divers and a few other bits and pieces that I'm just like, I need to spend some time on this and just finish them up. But
Mm. Mm.
we do have a new theme since this will be the last podcast of April. So our theme for May is get to work. And so the idea there is we want games where you're working a job, you're doing a job, you're doing like a chore or a job, like you're an employee, and I want to see some good debate I want to see some justification of people trying to say, hey, this is a job, and us telling you no, that is not a job. Final Fantasy does not count as a job for the most part. But I'll be very curious to see what kind of suggestions people have.
This will be a fun one.
Well, I mean, they have job systems, right?
They do, yes. Just because it's called a job system doesn't mean you're actually a job.
I mean, like, yeah, because like if we throw out some examples,
Yeah.
I originally my first instinct was the big con. You're
Okay.
you're pulling a job.
Yeah, but that's
There you
that's
go.
different. That's no.
Yeah.
If
Well,
anything,
or
that's
robs
the
a
opposite.
bank?
That's stealing. That's literal stealing from people
Yeah.
who do have jobs. That's not how that works.
It's like, well, what about LA Noir or Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
Yep, sure. LA Noir, 100%. Cops, cops definitely. That's definitely a job. Yep.
I'll
Yeah,
take one
yeah.
that's not on Game Pass then, and I'll finish off
Yeah.
Darkside Detectives too.
That's a good. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dark Side Detectives is a great
Yeah, yeah.
example.
Yeah.
So Cameron came up with this idea. So he was thinking of things like moving out and stuff like that, and Power Wash Simulator.
Mm,
What's the game where you're an intern and it's kind of like a dating sim? It's not the big con. There's
Oh.
another. You know the one I'm thinking of, right?
Uh,
It was in Game Pass. It's not in Game Pass anymore.
Boyfriend Dungeon?
No. Maybe it was.
Going Under.
Yes. Yeah.
Going Under, which those people just released their new game this week
Yeah.
actually into Game Pass.
Yeah. There we go.
Well, Coffee Talk and Coffee Talk 2 would fit in.
Yep, yeah, those are good examples.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely. You work at a coffee shop.
I have
that
both
makes
of them
sense.
installed, ready to go.
There
They
you
are
go.
so good.
I'm really gonna
yeah.
have to think this one through and come up with some games actually,
Yeah.
because
Well, I don't think Devil May Cry's on Game Pass, but I mean Dante's famous quote, "Time to go to work, guys."
yeah, but
he's
to be
kinda
fair,
working.
I think I might draw the line at self-employed because I'm
All
like,
right,
come on,
all right.
like that's like if you're a freelancer, that doesn't count. Like you
Yeah.
got to be working for you got to be gainfully employed. Like
See,
that
if
man
I
fights demons for a
already
living.
Suggested Control.
Well,
That no, yes, because Jessie
nah.
works for them.
no, she does not. She
hates
d-
the job.
no, she does not.
She
But-
has
well, okay,
the uniform.
I mean, not till the end of the game, but that doesn't count. And also she's the director, so she's not actually
Yeah.
working. That doesn't
True.
count.
Okay, fair.
He's the boss. That's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I believe you can play Power Wash Simulator by cloud. So it's going
Okay.
to be
Yeah.
my going to bed, lying in
PC.
Hell
bed,
yeah.
looking up at my phone hanging over me, clipped, playing.
I would say
As long
you
as it
get
doesn't
your
fall on your
Meta
face, you'll be
Quest 3
fine.
out
No.
and
No, I have. I think I've spoken about this before. I've got one of those
Like,
phone clips that have the key light on them that
oh, yeah,
also have a
yeah,
phone clip,
Yeah.
and I've rigged it
Oh.
above my bed, so I'm lying in bed, and I look up, and it's just the phone's hanging over my head. That completely frees my hands,
sure.
and so I can grab the controller, or I can play, or I can reach up and do whatever I want with it. I can watch movies, or whatever I want. So
You're
I'll
like
just
two
put on
steps away from those chairs and Wally. I'm just telling you right now, man. Like you just
Like-
never look away from the screen.
Yeah, the difference is bed is for bed, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
wake up in the morning, I'm out of bed straight away. There's no hanging around.
Yeah.
So because it's time to go to work.
There you go.
True.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Because we're all productive members of the capitalist society.
Gross.
Yeah. But thank you, Cameron. It was a great suggestion. So I'm very curious to see what people say and what ideas people come up with and what bullshit they try to get past us this time.
Try to pass
Yep.
off as being an actual game for it.
Yeah, definitely string your bullshit
Please.
Yeah.
through
Tell
that whole
us.
channel, and
We'll
we want to
take
know
it.
what you can bring. So
Um,
or not take it.
Yeah. We'll,
well, no,
we'll
I'm trying to.
call you out.
We're gonna. Exactly. No, we'll put it before the panel and see what they say. We've also got a few new Game Pass updates. So we had Euden Chronicles 100 Heroes, which just came out into Game Pass, which is the sort of Suikoden spiritual successor. Very
Yep.
curious to see the response has been okay to it, I think. I don't think anyone's finished on TA yet. It's what like it's a relatively meaty RPG, and the achievements have some missables in them, I think, because like you need to get all the heroes, and some of them are missable.
Uh,
So I'm hoping someone puts a really good guide together or a walkthrough, because I
Yeah.
would really like to play that. Another Crab's Treasure from the Going Under guys, which
Yep.
is a Souls-like where you play as a crab, but apparently has some accessibility stuff. I was tempted to jump on it, but I want to kind of wait to make sure it's completable before I delve too deep. But I am excited because I do need a new kind of project.
Yep.
Manor Lords also just came out today,
mhm.
which looks great. It's in game preview on PC only, but it is kind of that sort of top-down Total War style game. So, but there's a lot of buzz around it. Have a Nice Death. I don't know a lot about. It's coming out April 30th.
Yeah, yeah. And if you want to honor the great Yoshitaka Murayama, which was the creator of the
Mhm.
Suikoden and Eden Chronicle, it's
Hmm.
basically his swan song before he passed away recently. That would be a
Yeah,
good one.
I
Be a
think
nice one to
So
jump on.
the team really just got on board and just tried to finish that off um,
Mm.
for his
I also
memory.
I
So
really enjoyed the prequel that they did, the little side scroller that they put together
mm,
on Game Pass a couple years ago,
mm,
to sort of as the sort of prequel to the game. And then in terms of things leaving, 7 Days to Die, Besieged, Loot River, NHL 22, Pikuniku, and Ravenlock. You don't have a lot of time. You've only got about a few more days before they
yep,
go. So I would recommend Ravenlock and Pikuniku at least. Loot River also, we're seeing a few people trying that out. It's not as difficult as it looks. The ratio is really, really heavily
yeah.
inflated.
Yeah, and a note about 7 Days to Die. There's a new version of it coming, I
Hmm.
believe.
Yeah,
So they're basically this is like the legacy version. So if you don't have that, you won't have that. I don't think it's still listed
not yet,
yet.
not yet, but they are going to delist it,
Um
I think, when the new one
That's
and
comes
their
out.
plan
I
too, right?
think yeah, the achievements could very well be the same list.
I get the feeling they'll
I
do a new
think
list, but with the same achievements or
yeah,
similar.
I've heard some rumblings that it could be the same list, but
Okay,
I'm not
oh,
quite
that'd be interesting.
sure.
Curious to see
So
how that goes.
yeah.
Mm.
All right. Well, let's get into what we've been playing. I will go first. So, like I mentioned, I played
Mm.
Castlevania, Mirror of Fate. Did not get very far with it. I'm really going to have to relearn my chops for that because those boss fights are tough. Um, I haven't really played a huge. I've been playing some trash just to kind of boost my gamer score up. I'm very close to my next milestone. I'm
Mhm.
about 2,500 away, so going to try and get that over the weekend. And then the last, I'll mention this for the last time, but I have one achievement left in Halo Master Chief Collection. I am nearly
Jeez.
done with it. I was hoping to get it done today. So the last two I had left was the annual and the deja vu achievements, which require four people to do the last levels on three in ODST. I managed to get Sly, and Mike and Devon together to do annual. We had a great time, quote unquote, with all the lag and bullshit and falling off. It took way longer than I thought it would, but it was still just as fun as it was back in 2009.
Hmm.
So that was really, really cool. But I need to do Deja Vu, so I'm going to try and get that done tomorrow, and then I will be
Right.
done with the collection. It's taken me just over a month to do.
Is that the
I
final wave of the which one is that?
Deja Vu,
The
it's the coastal highway level at the end
oh,
of ODST, but you can't use the Warthog.
mm,
Yeah, they have to go on foot or use the Mongoose. So,
yeah.
um,
You'll
I
be
don't think.
fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Like I think we'll be okay. But you got to have four people. It's got to be on
Mm,
legendary, and you have to have the Iron Skull on. So if anyone dies, you're back to the checkpoint.
yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm not too worried about it. It's just kind of getting people. I need to find. Mike already has it, so I'm trying to find a fourth person for it. But if not, we'll
Okay, I
we'll do it
might
then.
be able to download it. Maybe. Yeah.
Or you can put it on
Download it.
cloud. Either way,
Oh,
yeah,
cloud. I mean, yeah, if I want to kill the frame rate even
yeah, true. Also
more.
true.
So
Yeah,
that
the
Yeah.
la-
game does
the
not run well.
no, it does not.
Uh,
It really does not run well.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I've been knee deep in Halo.
mhm.
So I haven't had time for a lot of other stuff. But now that I'll be done with it, I'm going to try and play some new games. Uh, I also have kind of been getting back into Tales of Arise. So I
Mm.
just beat the kind of second main boss. I don't know how long the game is. Basically the game opens with like, hey, there are five different areas and different elements. I'm like, okay, so five main bosses and probably like a sixth final boss. So that's kind of what I'm going for. So, but it feels weird that I've just beaten the second one and I'm only about 10 hours in, And I'm like, okay, is this a short game or is there going to be some bullshit? I don't know.
I feel like there'll
Or
be
is
bullshit.
I get the feeling maybe it has like a big end game. I know that Tales of Vesperia definitely did. And it had like acts. Like the game was much bigger than I thought it was going to be. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm enjoying it, but it hasn't like hooked me like some of the other RPGs have. Which is why it's kind of taken me like a month to kind of get back to it. But now that I have a bit more free time, I probably will play a bit more of it. But I am on the lookout for my next big project, so we'll see how it goes. Um, all right, who wants to go next? What do you got to play? Because that's all I've got.
Sure. Did you want to go through some of your stuff?
Yeah, yep. I have actually been playing games again, funnily enough.
Woo!
So I have completed a couple of games since the last time I was on the podcast. So I jumped on and finished Botany Manor. Absolutely
Oh, that
loved
game's
it.
great.
It's beautiful. Like, the music's lovely. The visuals are pretty. It runs really smoothly, and I'm gonna do the stack 100%. Like, I'm just waiting for I just gotta wait till I can do it on the Xbox. I've been mildly obsessed with a completely different game, so I'll get there. I also completed the first of the two Darkside Detective games. I want more people to play these games. They're so amazing. Like, they're so stupid and like funny and really just dumb humor, and like they know exactly what they're doing with their games. It's all like very 80s, 90s detective point and click amazingness. But you basically are a detective that works with supernatural things from the dark side. So that's the whole premise, and you have a buddy cop, and you go through the whole game just solving, like, I think there's 9 cases in total. And there's a couple of different little, like, miscellaneous achievements around as well. So it's quite handy to at least have a guide around to work through those ones. But it's pretty straightforward. If you went through and just did everything and clicked everything and played with everything, you would end up just getting all of the things. And so you run through with your buddy cop, and then at the end of the game, your buddy cop goes missing. And then that leads into the very next game, which literally starts at the very next day, essentially.
Oh, cool.
Like, you basically, your buddy goes missing, and then you're like, oh, now I'm at my buddy's house investigating where he went and where's my friend. So I've started the second one. So I need to go back to that and jump on that. When I've got a bit of free time from uni, I'll probably do that.
The characters made a cameo appearance in Coffee Talk 2, I think.
Amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't recognize them straight
That
away, but eventually I was like, oh shit, okay, I kind of put
feel
2 and 2
like
together eventually.
I need to go and play Coffee Talk 2 again just to
I
find
think
that
I
out.
might have to,
Yeah,
check that
because
out
they're
now.
Okay.
it's because Darkside Detective is kind of like lo-fi
Yeah.
art style, right?
Yeah.
Whereas they get it's really
It's all
cool to see them
pixel.
like it's all pixel art, so they get rendered in that kind of Coffee Talk style, which is really really cool.
Very cool. Okay. I didn't notice that, so that's something I'm going to have to go and look up. But I highly recommend both of them. They're not difficult games, but they are very fun. And I know that Matt is going to love the jokes in it. I think, Keo, you'll love the story. And just wandering through, and the art style is very cool. It's all pixel art, basically.
Nice.
And it starts off with all the cases in a computer file. So you just go through each one, and it lets you just go through them. Very, very nice little games. Then I also started Cocoon, which I am, I think, 60% of the way through. I was mostly doing most of the puzzles on my own, with just a guide to work out where the elders were, because I was very conscious of the fact that I did not want to have to play through the whole game a second time, because I'm finding that is the most frustrating thing that I'm having with playing games at the moment, is getting through the game and being like, yes, I really enjoyed that, and then being like, fuck, I have to play it all again, and just not wanting to do anything of the sort. It actually is almost why I almost didn't get the very last achievement on Chance of Sinar, because I thought that I had to play through like half the game to get back to this one area, but actually it was way easier than that. And I'm very thankful for Matt just being like, hey, you can just go to the door. And I went, oh. Oh, okay.
Happy to help.
It was so simple in the end, but so there's two parts in that game, which it's a beautiful game. Matt's already previously talked about it, but I, being a linguistics major at university and a language nerd, loved it because it's all about language. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to use my like linguistics knowledge and put this and like work things out that way and be like, okay, there must be patterns in the languages that match up and I even found it difficult because they didn't quite match up how I would have expected them to, but they did follow mostly the same logic as if you were like backtracking from a language point of view. So I quite liked that. And then it turns out that the last achievement was just ringing the doorbell 3 times. I thought it.
Yeah.
So my brain was like, so there's these like alarm bell things that like halfway through the game, and you have to ring them in a certain order for you to go to the next stage of the game. And I thought it was that. I thought I had to do that 3 times. No. That's not what it was. You just ring the doorbell on the monastery 3 times. And as soon as I found that out, I was like, oh, okay. Wow.
Just annoy the guy at the door for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, all things considered, there was nothing that I would have missed while playing that. And I did have I had a walkthrough to make sure that I wasn't missing any like achievements that way, but I mostly did it all on my own and I loved it. It was really good. The visuals are stunning. Like, I really like playing those games that are just, that they're going to be indie. So you go into them without your expectations being super, super high, right? But it was beautiful. Like, the art was so pretty. The music was lovely. The fact that I got to go through and do puzzles, I'm like, yes, this is my thing. I love puzzle games. So, like, more of those games, I'll happily just play those games. Like, I love puzzle games.
I highly recommend that game to anyone who's interested in puzzles or languages or anything in between.
And it's on Game Pass, so...
Yeah, it would be so good if it was on Game Pass, but it's not.
Oh, I thought it was. Okay, no, never mind.
No, it would be a great Game Pass get, to be honest, but I recommend if it goes on sale, pick it up immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Buy it. Like, it's so good. Like...
Yeah, it was on my Game of the Year list for sure.
And then that leads me into my big puzzle game, which I'm going to call it a giant puzzle game because it pretty much is. It's just sci-fi puzzles.
It's a Metroidvania, yeah.
Pretty much. Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes.
Which I've been meaning to go back to for ages. So, like, this is... I started this because I love Star Wars and Sith and, like, the fact that I can change my lightsaber all the time, and I have this amazing BD-1 robot that's just the best droid ever, like, hands down. No one can convince me otherwise. BD-1 is number 1. I'm loving it again. I'm mostly, like, fully addicted to it at this stage, to the point where, like, I've been trying to play a game with Matt all week and been like, no, I want to play Jedi Fallen Order. I know we've got
Char's
this...
is the worst co-op partner. It's just like trying to organize time is just impossible.
I just want to play Fallen Order. And I have ADHD.
I get it. Fallen Order is fucking great.
And because now I'm like, okay, I've got Map Genie and I have my map of each of the different worlds and I could just sit there and go through and get all the collectibles. Because originally I stopped playing because I was overwhelmed with just trying to work out how to get them all. And there's just so many collectibles and it's insane. So when I realized that there's a map on Map Genie and I already have my year subscription to that, I was like, amazing. Okay, this is going to solve that issue. So I then was like, okay, I'm going to go back to the worlds I've already been to. I'm going to go through and just clean up those worlds and get them to like 100% as much as I can. And there was a point where I was like, okay, I can't do this. Is this because I'm missing an ability? And I checked with Matt and was like, wait, why can't I grab this thing? And then I realized, okay, I need to progress with the story. So then I was like, I'm going to go and finish a bit more of the story. Which then meant that I had all of like the forward and back zip line, the double jump and all of that thing. And then I was like, okay, now I feel like I can go back. and I cleaned up 3 of the worlds, and now I'm back into the story again and cleaning up as I go, and it's so much better. Like, I almost kind of wish that when I'd started the game, I had that little backup just so that I could work out where things were. Because now I'm doing the newest world, which I'm on is Dothamir.
Dathomir?
Yeah.
Dathomir.
Dathomir. And I love the story behind the fact that it's all of the witches from the dark side and the Night Brothers and the witches and things. And like, it's great because now I can sit and do it. I've got the map open, but I'm not using it. I'm kind of just playing it through and going in different areas and just making sure that I'm getting things as I see them. But I'm actually more immersed in the story now because of it. It's just almost like a companion, like when you
Right, nice.
when you want to drive somewhere and you have Google Maps up, just because you're like, I just need the companion. You know, you don't need it anymore because you know where you're going. But it's nice to just have the map there, and that is making it better.
The nice thing about the game is that there aren't really any missables for the most part. Like, it's thankfully you can go back and explore.
You can go back
to
the different worlds and get everything, and even the miscellaneous achievements, which I'm working through, you can go back and get them all. Like, the only weird ones are like the one that's going to be the hardest one, I think, is the kick one. And that's because I'm struggling to kick because he then tries to use the lightsaber when I go to do the kick, and I'm like, no, you have to only because it's because that achievement is you have to kill them by only kicking them. And if you don't press it quite right, he doesn't like evade backwards and then kick. He will lightsaber, and you're like, oh god, can he not do that because you've just fucked it up again. And he'll do like 2 kicks and then he'll lightsaber and you're like, god damn it.
Fun fact with that game, I found on Audible the other day. I was just looking because I had some credit. There's like a middle game that a book that goes between the first and the second game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was on sale, and I normally just pick up the stuff that's related just to video game stories of things.
Yeah.
So I've got like the Star Wars Force Unleashed novels or whatever on Audible and shit like that. But this one, it's like Star Wars Jedi Battle Scars.
Ooh, okay.
Turns out it turns out to be like a love story or something like that, but it bridges the 2 games.
Oh, it's between the 2 games. Yeah,
That's
right. Okay.
very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're interested in a little bit extra, I grabbed that this week because it was just on sale, and I was just like, whatever.
We'll have to get
But
your
probably not on
thoughts
sale
later.
anymore. But yeah, so
I
but
mean,
I haven't played the games yet. So
the second game has quite a big time skip, and like you start that game in a very different situation than you end the first game. So it is really cool to see that they kind of filled it in a little bit.
Yeah, I'd like to. I actually might go and look into that because my plan is to play the second one. Like, as soon as I finish the first one, I'm going to jump into the second one. I've already decided that that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I just have one big gripe with Fallen Order. The maps and the fact that I can't fast travel.
The maps suck.
Fucks me off so badly.
Fast travel,
There should be something to be able to fast travel between locations, because there are so many times where I've gotten stuck and been like, how the fuck do I get out of this? Like, I got stuck in the tomb once because I could not work out. I felt like both my exits were blocked. I got stuck on Zepho in one spot and was like, what the fuck's going on? And I've seen conversations of people getting like soft locked because they got into a situation where they didn't have the ability and they could not get out of where they were. I've realized now that you can just go and quit the game and it'll bring you back to the last save point, which is that's handy, but also doesn't necessarily resolve issues, especially if you're still stuck in the bottom of the tomb.
They fixed it in the second game for sure.
Cool.
They added fast travel and they kind of added a few more quality of life things.
Okay,
but
nice.
Like
the first game definitely is. Yeah, you can tell.
And it's a small gripe, but the maps are confusing as hell. And even with Map Genie, it like gives you a little bit of an indication where things are, but I've still had to go and look it up on a different site. And there's some walkthrough sites that are better than others. Some are just confusing and don't actually help you find things. But when it's the Force Echoes and things like that, because I'm trying to I've now decided that regardless of the achievements, I need to collect everything. I want all of the bits of lore. I want every single archive record. I want every single enemy record. I want everything now. So this is going to end up being like Control, where although you didn't need to collect everything, I did.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I needed to have, I wanted everything and I read everything. And even now I'm like, I don't normally play with game sound because I usually will play with like a TV show going and then playing a game. But I have actually taken to having, because I have remote play, so I set that up and I have my TV show going, but I will have just the volume of the game up enough that I can then hear when he reads out the archive records.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just been enough that I can like pick up on things. And I go back and read them all the time and look at things. There's just so much to this game. It's amazing. And it's still on Game Pass.
EA Play?
EA Play, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
which is,
And Survivor
in-game
just got added this week to EA Play as well.
Yes.
So
like today, actually, I think. Yeah.
So I definitely recommend it. Like,
hell yeah.
I don't get that into games very often, but the fact that I have been jumping into Fallen Order so often in the last like 2 weeks is, it's saying something.
For sure.
Yeah. And you were so excited when you finished that boss the other day.
Holy shit. I did end up having to look up some information on that boss because I was having so much trouble. So it's the seventh sister. Is it the one that's the fifth sister? Sorry,
fifth is the big
and
one.
there's the ninth. Yeah. So it's the fifth sister, and she's a tank. And I struggled to work out the timing. So I couldn't work out the timing of her attacks. And then I kept... Because I am... When I game, I want to get up close and just attack. That's my whole thing. I don't like parrying, so I struggle with that. I would be terrible at Sekiro.
This game has a lot... this is a very light version of Sekiro.
Yes,
basically.
yeah. And like I have it playing on story mode, and I still died several times. And then I looked up some information and they were like, okay, well, because I just got the double blade. So I was trying to use my double blade lightsaber because I was like, hey, this is freaking cool. Not realizing it had less power than the single lightsaber.
It's more for crowd control, yeah.
Yeah, I did not click that. And when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, okay. So I flicked back and then I had way more... it was way easier for me. And then I started because each time it got me to like revive, I actually kept my points. So I managed to get myself up to enough that I could then increase a couple of things in my skills tree. And then I managed to evade, go in and attack, evade, go in and attack. And I think I had at that point 5 stim packs. And I managed to just do it in that one run once I got to that point. But I just, because of the way that I play, it's just not conducive to like, when I eventually do decide to go and play Elden Ring, I need something that I can just go in and
that'll be interesting. I can't
whack
wait to
the
see
shit
that
out of
stream.
something, like, because that's how I play. I want to go in and just attack. When I attack like all of the stormtroopers, I just go in and whack them with my lightsaber like this.
That's what
I
they're
get
there for.
Yeah, my option by default is if it has fisticuffs, just to go in with your fists. I'm in.
Yeah.
So that's
like
it.
any games, I just want to get in there and attack. Like, it's a wonder that I play D&D where I play like a wizard where I have to stay back and like use my skills to like attack from a distance. I'm not good at that when I play video games. I want to just get in there and punch shit and like no parry, I just punch. Give me one of those games and I'll be completely happy. I get more annoyed with the fact that they then stop me from like attacking them with my lightsaber even though I know I should parry or evade. I'm like, no, let me attack. I just want to whack you with my stick. Let me just kill you with my
They really need to bring
stick.
back the Force Unleashed series because I think you'd really enjoy those.
Yeah, probably.
Because that's like Sith power fantasy dialed up to 11.
Can you
It's
tell
so
that
fucking cool.
I am a Sith at heart by like this?
Yeah, exactly. think they might be backwards compatible, so maybe they're worth giving a look.
We should have a look.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing. I also hit 250 games played.
Oh, nice work.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm slowly creeping up to the 220 mark. I'm not going to hit my 300,000 gamer score this year, but that is okay. I have time. I should hopefully at least get to halfway there before the end of the year. I
Sweet.
reckon. Yeah. Yeah. What have you
All
been
right.
playing, Keo?
Well, to start off, we're just touching on Diablo 4 with the boys, which is our weekly thing. So Todd jumped on board this week. He's in the chat now. We ended up with 4 players. We got nearly to the end of the second act, I believe, with that one.
Yeah.
So that was
like
a
one more fight to do or something.
really, really good session, I think, with that one. So yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, not much more to say with that. We're kind of just making some progress. I went ahead and basically smashed through the Crew Motorfest. So I touched a
Nice.
couple of weeks ago that I had done the multiplayer stuff without realizing that there was the Destruction Derby mode, which is the only
yes.
achievement I have left.
Yep.
I've got 3 achievements and then just like 30 challenges. So I smashed it out in like a day and a half, just chilling. And I can't find a match.
Okay, you need to change your region.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
I could not find a match in Australia, the Australian region, or you've got to
okay,
change it
cool.
to the US. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. So US and I'll find it instantly. Right,
Yeah.
yeah. So, well, by the end of the night, I'll have the Crew Motorfest finished, maybe.
Woohoo.
So we'll see. But yeah, probably tomorrow because I've got to do those 30 challenges. Yeah, so overall, the game's really, really good. Just completely disconnected in the way that I just don't think it holds up to the first Crew. Still, like, one of the problems I'm finding is that you're going through these playlists, and the playlists throw you in different types of cars, obviously to get you just trying a whole bunch of different stuff. And then they give you a car at the end of the playlist, but you're not even playing with your own stuff. If you don't own those cars,
Yeah.
you're not playing with them. Everything's on loan. When the whole thing with the first game was that you had a car of each type, you go through and you do everything you need to do, and you're just upgrading those cars, and then they're your cars. And yes, you're kind of playing with what you want. So I did do, because I had to do 6 playlists, the last 3 after the main stage one. So I just burned through the first 3, and then I was kind of choosing a few different ones. I did the movie scenes one. It's basically played out like do 7 levels. You play action scenes like in a movie, and they kind of throw a few things at you like the Stuntman game and stuff like that. And you had to do races and different tracks. The thing I didn't like about that is there was 2 really slow levels where they basically showed you a screenshot of like a left turn or a right turn on a road. And it's like, oh, as you get up to this road, there's an arrow on the picture. You had to turn left or right at the right spot. And I'm like, oh, this is a drag. This is so boring. And it was just some build up for some love scene thing. And then at the end of that, they showed you the video of the trailer for the movie. But then I was playing like just like a black female character, because I was switching around the different character models that I was doing as I was kind of going, and that's what I landed on. And it showed me as a guy, a black guy in the movie trailer. So I don't know if
what the fuck.
Yeah. It's so weird. It's completely disconnected from what you're actually playing. They just showed you a generic movie trailer.
They just show you
with
some
this
shit
guy.
that they shot.
Exactly.
Here's something we shot earlier.
Yeah. And throughout the whole movie storyline, as you were doing the levels, it was a guy as well. And it's like you're obviously playing a female character. I didn't start as a male character. I was just, and because when you select your character, you just go through and choose like a head model that you want to be.
Basically.
So it's not even connected to a gender, which is good, but it's just like, it disconnected from the experience.
What was the playlists you liked the most?
I played the Hypercars one.
Hypercars was fucking sick.
It's so sick. The final car that you end on, I can't even remember the name of it now, but you end up with that car at the end. It's just the best sounding car, and I changed it. It actually suggests during the playlist to go into first person mode, so you can
Mm.
kind of just experience and just appreciate the dashboard in the car. But once I did that with the hypercars, the game played so much better.
Right.
So it was the ones with the open tops played really good because I play in first person, like in rally games and all that kind of stuff as well. I always say that. And the game just feels really good. Um, like any other first person cockpit view in a car game,
Mm.
if the dashboard but the distance between the dashboard and the roof is a millimeter, you have no fun with it. You can't
Yeah.
see the road at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just not good. Um, but yeah, but I did really like switching between like you just go really fast in a car and then just switch to a plane and you're going really fast in the air, straight off the bat. It was just instant changing, which is something that the Lego 2K Drive game is
Mm.
doing really, really well as well. So just that little switch up kind of makes things really nice. So I made sure to go through and get the plane as fast as I could. So but other than that, the game's fine. I hope they don't make the Motorfist a series, like a spin-off series to it. So, but we'll
I don't know.
see.
Considering how successful
Yeah.
Horizon's been, I get the feeling that's
Yeah, and Motorfest has been pretty successful. You look at
yeah.
the leaderboards and stuff like that in the game, and there's a lot of people playing the game
Yeah.
like just consistently. So it's very popular. So yeah. So also my 360 game, basically my one for the week, going back to the theme of the month, is Destiny on 360.
Right.
Yeah, so yesterday Todd had a day off because it was Anzac Day on the Thursday here, and we were just sitting there for an hour, just going, oh, what do we play? We start a new co-op game. We're not in the middle of anything, and I don't really want to do grindy multiplayer bullshit right now. So we looked at a couple of things, but stuff like It Takes Two and even Wolfenstein Youngblood, of all things, was just like
Oof.
44 gigs. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, started downloading one of them, and I'm like, oh, let's just go over 360 for Destiny. And we had the best 360 Destiny session we've had so far.
Wow.
We came back to it once or twice because I had to go out and do some stuff, but the end game stuff in that game is just really nice to play. You're sitting at level 40 and Todd's getting up to level 40. He's like level 39 something and whatever, and he's starting. I think he might have hit level 40. He might be close. And then you just start doing end game content with two people because I've been stuck on a couple of quests in the game because I needed multiple people to play it. Because you just can't pull off enough power to kill something in time if it's timed and the enemy disappears or whatever in the open world. So it was good to get in there and just spend a good chunk of time helping him get his levels up and smashing that out. So we'll go back to that a little bit more now, I think, and we'll try and get him up to date with all the missions and get as much done before we can do the raid stuff, which I know Cameron wants to go back and do. So it might be a little bit of incentive for
Oh, I
that.
can't
So
wait to hear about that. That fucking
I
raid will be
will
super interesting.
love to see Todd and Cameron both in a raid with who knows what other TA people will find to go along with that. So that'll be interesting. But the last thing that I've kind of been playing is Assassin's Creed Mirage. As I said, I started like 2 hours ago. Uh, so I jumped in. It's got a really nice. I like what they're doing with the intro for Assassin's Creed, where they're doing the Marvel thing, where they're kind of throwing everything,
Hmm.
every Creed game, like up on like a gold and black kind of like montage.
Yep.
It's really nice because they've got that Ubisoft Assassin's Creed hub thing that they kind of want to do, Infinity or whatever it's called. I don't know. Whenever they set that up properly.
Yeah, right. I'm still
I
not
know, right?
100% sure what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they changed all the logos in the game's artwork, like on people's
Hmm.
dashboards and stuff like that, if they bought the games previously. So, and they're all gold and black now too. So maybe they're lining things up. But the gameplay's fine. It is kind of really nice to have the classic Assassin's Creed feeling, but I have not really played any of the new ones, the open world ones. I haven't seen them yet, so I don't know what they're like. But the last one I played was Black Flag,
Mm.
and I did that both copies, the 360 and the one version, at the same time. So
Yep.
dealt with a lot of water. And it's good to kind of just have something really simple. So I'll hopefully get a little bit more of that done. So basically renewed my Ubisoft Plus just to kind of smash out a couple of those big games now. Because I spent the month doing mostly Trials, started Scott
Yeah.
Pilgrim,
Mm-hmm. Cool.
and yeah, just DLC and stuff like
It sounds
that.
like
And
you're
then
getting
the
pretty
crew.
good value for money on that one, at least.
I
Yeah.
think at least, yeah, considering basically just doing all the DLC I didn't buy
Hmm.
originally, and yeah. So I'm trying to download Far Cry 6, but there must be some weird thing because it's in Game Pass. It says play with
Oh,
Ubisoft Plus. I go to Ubisoft Plus to play and install, but it
Mm.
goes to the sign up for Ubisoft Plus menu
Yeah.
instead of downloading the game.
okay.
So if I can download the game, I'm through Game Pass, I might be able to just
Mm.
Just play it.
go in, manage games, download the DLC or whatever.
Got
So
it. Yeah.
do all the DLC as well. But
If
yeah.
that doesn't work, try it from the in-game menu.
Yes, yes, yeah. I should at least be able to get the normal version downloaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm good on that. So
Sweet.
Nice.
I'll quickly go through our leaderboards. In third place, we have Thrash Forever with 18,264. We have a Grey Shark with 30,670. And we have Warlord Ethan with
Woo!
50,356, which is the first time we've seen him for quite a while.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's a crazy high score. So good job, everyone.
Mm.
Akio, do you want to go through completions?
Yeah, for completions this week, so Rapture did Disney Speedstorm, Shutter Slide did Rainbow Six Vegas and Doom Arcade. Professor Pluto did Escape Academy, the DLC. Lord Mud did the Dead Island 2 DLC. Shane slash Firehawk did Pikaniku, which is leaving Game Pass, and Just Jake did Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. So very low completions. So
Mm.
Yeah, Rapture did a little bit of a write-up around Disney Speedstorm, which is quite interesting.
yes, which you can see on the Discord. Yep.
Yeah, so make sure you go and check them out.
Mm, mm.
We've also got the word challenge, everyone's favorite competition, where I pick a game, you go onto our Discord, and you guess what the game is, and you win $20. So I've given away some clues. We're starting to get to the big ones now. So the first clue was this game. It has two games in the series. It has FMV. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's an FMV game. It just has FMV in it.
Mm-hmm.
It has a teen rating on the ESRB, so nothing too violent, but also nothing too kiddie.
Mm-hmm.
And the fourth clue, the new one, is this game has a "the" in the title somewhere. I'm not saying it doesn't necessarily
Matt,
start with yes.
is it The Witness?
It's not The Witness. It is not The Witness. The Witness does not have FMV as far as I'm aware. Also, it doesn't have a sequel. Thank fuck. It's not The Witness 2. But yes, it has "the" in the title somewhere. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the first one. It could be somewhere else, like in like a colon "the" something. But yes, anyway. So get your guesses in. Next week, I'm basically going to give it away. So I want to see some really good guesses this week because this is a big clue. You got a nice narrow slice here. So good luck to everyone. And then we got the Patreon. Char, do you want to read those out?
Yes, I can. So our Patreon, as always, is Hall of Gamers on patreon.com. And our patrons currently are Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Natolinator, Mad Lefty, Admiral Awesome, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hackenpone, Cavalero7, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, McLovin Legend, Massage, and Left for Legacy, and McNulty. And we really appreciate your support. We couldn't do the show without you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Mhm.
And that's pretty much going to bring us to the end of the show. As always, we do the show live on Twitch. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. You can come hang out in the chat. We've got people like Todd and Legacy and Zach in the chat. So come say hi, hang out, if the time makes sense for you. Otherwise, you can check out the VOD on Twitch for a little bit, and then you can listen to this as you probably are on your favorite audio listening platform. But I also put this up on YouTube if you want to catch videos or go through the backlog on our YouTube channel. You'll find it pretty easy. We use the same branding everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much us. What have we got to
Yeah.
shill? Keo, what have you
Yeah,
got going
well,
on?
Unlike the podcast that has the same branding everywhere, I have at HTFG Play on YouTube, where you can find all my uploads and streams for YouTube and shorts for each stream I do. And also, I upload full, unedited, mostly unedited versions of the streams that I do, mistakes and all, stuff like Resident Evil Zero that I'm doing at the moment, stuff like that. Which you can catch my streams at Twitch at Kia Live at Home. You can also see the notifications on Twitter, Kia Live at Home, and you can also see me on Instagram. Those shorts are up there as well on Instagram at Kia Live at Home. So I should really just condense that to at Kia Live at Home everywhere except for YouTube.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Or take
Take
Shadow's
my
example
approach.
and go at Keo at YouTube and your mum's house and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
Mom says exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keo live at your parents. Char, have you got anything you want to promote?
I'm another person that doesn't understand branding, but whatever. I don't care. I've kind of got there now, though, because like a lot of my things are actually coming together with the Char has many names. But that's how you'll find me: is either Char has names on Xbox, the Char with many names is my art account on Instagram. I am on Twitter, but I don't remember my name over there, so people can find me there. But my Twitch is now changed to the Char with many names.
Oh, all right. It's getting there. You're bringing the branding together.
I'm slowly connecting the dots.
Yeah.
It's all because of character limits and, not being able to cohesively have names across the board. But usually it's a variation of the Char with many names now because I have lots of them.
So you're bringing back the Twitch?
No. I've just changed it.
It's just there.
Yeah, one day. I have decided that basically any extra curricular activity is out of my abilities while I'm still studying. But I have 2.5 years. If I can get through the next 5 papers, then maybe I will come back to streaming.
And I'm Neomaster on everything, True GM, Xbox, and Discord. I don't do any streaming or anything, but Discord is the best place to find me, as always. All right. And a big shout out to Cameron, who's out at DreamHack. Yes?
Sorry,
Char?
one
Yeah.
moment. Can you redo the ending? Because I flicked this screen by accident to the outro. I broke it. I'm
not editing it, so it's just going to be like that now.
This is fine. It's fine.
All right. Well, that's going to bring us to the take 2 of episode 121.
No, take 2 of the ending of episode 1. Now it's take 3.
Take 3, yes.
Yeah, technically this is take 3 because I did it twice by accident. So.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
And it's completely irrelevant because the audio listeners wouldn't have known that there was
they wouldn't. And most
slides.
people just watch this audio anyway, so
they
it's fine.
won't know. This is more entertaining than anything else.
But yes, a huge shout out to my co-hosts and Cameron, who's away at DreamHack having a great time. We look forward to seeing him back in the next few weeks. I think he's going to be out for a while. He's very, very busy. But that's been episode 121. We will catch you guys next week. See you later.